Out as, like you said, we're going to Mammoth Fortress for game number 1.
Starting off this one, each member of the team is going to grab a weapon first off. There is a spot on the right side. Rygunduz was the one who went actually over to the left side, didn't grab the weapon, but now has one in hand. We'll see what Shadoww is able to do with this lance. I feel like it's been a minute since I saw a Ulcrum this deep in bracket from any region other than like South America.
Yeah, they definitely, they don't generally make it very far. Lance in particular can be kind of awkward in the 2v2 space. It takes up a lot of real estate to utilize. Oh no! The weapon toss from Rygunduz, and Shadoww launches his teammate right into the weapon toss. Gonna take Ket down to his second stock already.
And that's tough when you're a Thor. You are kind of expected when you pick that character to be able to survive a long time. If you don't, you better be fragging your brains out on the other team. Rygunduz might get the finish over here onto Shadoww. Not quite. He's able to get back onto the main platform. A little bit of team damage coming out. A stomp, not too bad for Rygunduz because Shadoww doesn't actually get a follow-up off of it. Sidelight Nair. Rygunduz. That weapon toss is actually going to save Ket a little bit. Is he going to get the full KO here? Not quite just yet. Coming back up, Rygunduz is still searching for it.
He's sitting on this outside, hits the recovery from underneath. Second recovery will actually be the finisher, and that is going to be the stock lead going the way of the blue team. But Rygunduz and Ket have taken a lot of damage, and I got word from production, I had to double check, that Ket is in fact a rebrand of Enema Tech, who teamed up with Cheese.
Oh yeah, we definitely knows Enema Tech. The T-E-K, the last 3 letters of Enema Tech. Turn that around, that's K-E-T.
That's the tech behind the name. But Ket has got to be careful here. Deep red on this second stock. Again, the Thor has a lot of defense, but an axe neutral sig from Cheeseface will be enough to put Ket down to his final stock here in game number 1.
I feel like with that name change, we have like a little bit of a Tom Marvolo riddle, I am Lord Voldemort situation kind of going on. Except Ket doesn't seem to be, at least in this game, as strong as Lord Voldemort is in the Harry Potter universe. If they can get a KO onto Cheeseface, that would put them in a pretty good spot. Rygunduz is going to eat a big boot, go straight down off of the unarmed Kit. Sidelight Cider, he actually gets the full combo off before Shadoww does. Yo, Rygunduz! Another ground pound. This time it was his sword.
Yeah, he slipped right in there. Gets another ground pound. Shadowface has a lot of movement. The chase dodge up, and he's going to get up safely. Red team still with this lead, and blue team's taking a lot of damage here as we get to the final stocks.
Blue team has found some good moments to sort of bring them back into this game a little bit, but here towards the end, it's really starting to fall apart. The fact that they can't KO Shadoww. He's going to feel good enough to go in with the double ground pound pulled out of him, so he didn't get caught down there too low, even though he was unarmed without weapon priority. Grabs that one. Yo, the recovery. I don't know if that Cider would have actually killed from Rygunduz on its own, so great pickup.
Oh, and Shadoww on the respawn immediately comes in, relieves the pressure. Rygunduz going to be the one to fall, and Ket on his last legs here, deep red, and Cheese is going to get it. Nice win. Game number 1 to Cheeseface and Shadoww.
You saw the side air coming in from that hammer. Hopefully we can get a slow-mo on that one because the hammer side air came out a little bit too early. Cheeseface was able to time it well with a really good spacing also and get the KO there in the side air war. There's that weapon toss that sort of started things off on a not very good foot.
It's so unfortunate because that one was definitely not intended to hit the team. Right? Like, it was like, I'm going to try to help you out. I see you're struggling a little bit against this lance. Let me just go for this weapon toss over there. Good positioning from Cheeseface on that final KO as well. You're kind of talking about that side air. Able to outspace the hammer side air from Ket and then come in right underneath. Like, that is not an easy thing to do. Definitely a lot of people have eaten a Sair to the face in that situation.
Now you see the team damage up on the board there. It's 75 from Ket and Rygunduz compared to Shadoww and Cheeseface's 148. So it's basically double the team damage, but you gotta look at that first damage that was really done to the team, and that was that weapon toss. All it took was that one damage to actually lead to a team KO. So that was really rough for the team, even though they overall did less team damage.
Yeah, it's not a thing that does a lot of like literal damage, but it does emotional damage. Takes out your teammate, and you can see the clear definition coming out from Cheeseface. 585 damage done with the axe for with the bow. Kind of similar story with Ket, 261 on the orb, 64 done with the hammer. There's very clearly some weapon specialists on these teams.
So we're going to be getting into this next one shortly. We did have a player dip out of the lobby, so you're going to have to deal with us for a moment as they come back in. That's Doggo. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be in here yet. You got to wait for your turn. We're waiting for Ket to get back in this room. Let's maybe take a look at the bracket. You don't have to put it on the screen, production, but we're just going to talk about it for a moment to see where this team came from and how they got to this point. I'm going to have to click on the bracket a little bit here. So pardon me while it loads for just a second. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at Smash GG.
Well, I can tell you that Ket and Rygunduz was on the top side. They beat Smash and Ryu in top 32, but then they got beat by none other than Doggo and Elsem, which made them have to do a lower bracket run. From there, they ended up going up against KZ Daddy and Moxie, where they 3-1'd to get into the top 8.
Then they got into their top 8. They took it 3-1 over Doxa and Hypeka. I'm not really familiar with either of those names. And then they went up against Kyler, Allison, Dummy. Of course, we talked about that one. They find themselves here, and everybody is in the lobby. We're about to get into this one. No character swaps whatsoever coming from these players.
Nope, definitely going to run it back. There was definitely a lot of opportunities there for the blue team to do well. And the fact of the matter is, like, despite the fact that Ket lost his first stock very fast, he ended up outliving Rygunduz, and unfortunately they just weren't able to put out as much damage, but there's definitely some potential there. You can see those inner workings of something big. Still a little bit of struggle coming out from the red team, though, as Cheeseface disconnects and reconnects. We're about to get into the map banning portion.
We'll see if we go to any different map this time. Crystal Temple taken off of the board right away. They're thinking about this second one a little bit more. It is going to be Apocalypse. Maybe they're not a fan of soft plats. Actually, Mammoth
no, they're leaving
the third
soft plats.
ban being taken. So yeah, I take it back. They are a fan of soft plats. They just want them to be like a little bit higher. So we're talking like Miami Dome. We're talking Small Enigma. We're talking Great Hall. They even take Shipwreck Falls. So it is going to be a choice between 2 soft plats or 3 soft plats. And in the case of soft platforms, less has to be better.
That might be the logic behind the red team, as that's what they went for. They went with the double platform of Miami Dome. We'll see how well it works out for them as we get into game number 2.
Rygunduz does seem to be the player that goes to the other side of the stage first to sort of deny that weapon spawn. It's been unsuccessful so far, and yet again this game, Rygunduz is going to be the last player to find a weapon, still searching for it. Even that one is taken away by Cheeseface. Over 15 seconds, and Rygunduz has been unarmed the whole time. Finally, a spawn comes in, grabs it, but takes a hit, and because of that, Rygunduz is already in orange.
Yeah, and you saw Cheeseface was able to swap from bow to bow, which means he had to have it picked up at least 3 weapons the time that Rygunduz had no weapons, and Rygunduz is just taking damage. The weapon toss not going to KO, but man, Rygunduz, has he gotten to play this first stock? I don't think so, as the down sig takes him out and Ket's on the right side.
Rygunduz has just been like doing quick time events the whole time and just watching like bad things happening to him because he's unable to get a weapon, unable to find the priority. God. Even when he does have it, he's still taking more damage. You hear all of those lance hits coming out. He does find a KO here, whiffs that side air. Shadoww trying to play in between 2 members of the blue team.
Some really good target swapping from Shadoww on that Lance. Team combo coming out from the blue team. Actually going to get some great damage built up onto Cheeseface. Left side, Rygunduz hunting for a KO. Can't quite get the recovery. Shadoww playing below it, and Ket, unfortunately, side 6 his teammate. Shadoww is going to take down Ket.
Rygunduz wasn't too deep into the stock just yet, so that didn't actually immediately lead to a KO. But the extended edgeguard situation with an unarmed Rygunduz yet again. He's taking so much damage. Shadoww finally falls. Rygunduz might be right behind him shortly. Cheeseface, nice bonk on the head with the weapon toss. Even the ground pound. Rygunduz comes in. How did they? He was in like white, Duke. That's so terrible.
He had just enough force on that boot to deny the wall touch, and Ket just got a stock deleted from him. Rygunduz gonna fall on the left side. Shadoww is dominating, and the red team has a big stock lead.
Now, I know we don't have graphs for 2v2, and we talk about like a skinny part of the graph for when your stock doesn't last that long. That was going to be a very short graph because he didn't take that much damage. That was a little puny one.
Yeah, that was a weapon toss's worth of damage, effectively. Like, you just see, like, a little anthill on that graph. But a nice neutral air coming out from Rygunduz. They might be able to take down Cheeseface, and that could be what they need to get back into this. But Cheeseface with the movement. Shadoww just target swapping. It has to survive. Okay, Shadow's going to fall. Cheeseface, if he outlives any of the blue team members, and this is in the red team's bag.
You saw that side air from Cheeseface again. Gave me a little bit of a flashback from last game. That's going to take out Ket. 2v1 situation. Nice side air from Rygunduz, but now he has to deal with a fresh Shadoww.
And Rygunduz play the stock of his life. He's got to perfect this as the side air almost KOs him. One more hit from an axe, and Rygunduz could fall. Edge guard opportunity. He backs off.
Even if he picked up that down air or a ground pound, like nothing's really going to happen to Shadoww unless he just totally misplays it on the edge. One, because Rygunduz is completely unarmed until just now, and then because Shadow's not too damaged. So any hit he finds is not going to send Shadoww anywhere compared to what Shadoww is doing. Wrong side of the stage, hits the side air, still a KO anyway.
I hear you about the unarmed edge guard, but you gotta rewind and remember Cheeseface took out Ket with an unarmed edge guard.
That's
so
true.
Anything is possible.
Oh man, this is a rough spot for Ket and Rygunduz. They had to be feeling good after 3-1 in Kyler Allison dummy previously coming into this one and then hitting a brick wall. They're now down 0-2. And you actually, whoa, I'm a little bit surprised. You see very low team damage from both teams here.
Yeah, they did a good job. Honestly, it was kind of split, right? Like, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to hit each other because they were just, like, all over the place. A lot of things in the air on the off stages. They didn't really get close enough to get that.
Now we'll see if the outcome changes this game. There is no character swaps yet again on the board. We are going back to Mammoth now that it wasn't banned out like it was previously.
Here we go. Game number 3. Final opportunity for Rygunduz and Ket to stay alive in this tournament. This is the World Championship. They want to podium here.
Now Rygunduz is actually able to get a weapon much earlier on than in really any of the previous games going into this one. He's searching for the just like standard hammer option. Didn't really look very flexible on the edge. He just kind of tunnel vision for the recovery. I think that could prove not very good for Rygunduz in the future if he's not able to adapt to sort of all of the chaos that can happen on the edge.
That's definitely something we've seen from the way Rygunduz plays that hammer edge guard. Like, I'm rewinding back to, I think, game 1, where he did like 5 hammer recoveries against Cheeseface on the edge. Didn't hit any of them, but here we are. Left side opportunity. Shadow's going to get the first KO onto Ket. Rygunduz still playing this edge guard. Get back up, but Cheeseface and Shadoww got the stock.
He played it reasonably successfully, though, especially because he was unarmed. He got back onto the stage, did some good damage. It ended up leading to a kill later on as Cheeseface was taken out. Now they just have to clean up this stock of Shadoww, and they're going to be in a pretty good spot. Hopefully Rygunduz can get it without taking too much more damage. That neutral air not quite enough. Good spot dodge there to get through the side air. Oh, Rygunduz on the edge, doing more than just relying on the recovery, and he gets back, and he goes for the slide charge. Desync, that was close. There's the recovery, the weapon toss.
Shadoww saved him!
Finds the recovery!
You can't touch!
Oh, not quite.
Shadoww, you got to give him credit. He respawned, came in, didn't actually do much, except he ate 1 weapon toss, which is enough that Cheeseface didn't have to risk anything. He didn't have to worry about that threat, and it's going to keep Cheeseface alive. Stock count is even. Cheeseface a little bit more damage, but this is definitely doable for either team.
Ket's actually finding some really good damage here onto Cheeseface. Nice little follow-up there. He's now going back over to Cheeseface, who's in the red, picks up the sidelight side air. Not enough to KO, but you see him immediately then go to put damage onto Shadoww. Picks up the signature, gets the KO, now rotating over. Grabs the first weapon that comes out. Rygunduz. Oh, he didn't take the bottom side of that, but he did hit the down signature.
Still good?
No, he got hit by that.
Oh my gosh, Ket slips past all of that. Cheeseface was coming in, was trying to take some names with his boots. Rygunduz did fall, but still, this is a nice lead for the blue team, and like you said, a lot of it off the back of Ket with this orb play.
I'll be very curious to see those stats and how different they are for Ket this game compared to some of the previous games. Blue team in a fantastic spot.
Ket is coming alive. So is Rygunduz on the hammer. Like the last game was predominantly sword play from Rygunduz, but this game, definitely a lot of hammer play coming out from Rygunduz.
He's taking some risks on the edge. A lot of them are actually paying off. Like the first stock, he was just like, he was Mr. Textbook Hammer player on the edge looking for, okay, when do I get to do my recovery move? But now he's doing some sick stuff on the edge, and I'm digging it.
Yo, all I'm saying is there's a reason that the textbook was written, right? They don't write textbooks about the guy who did hammer dare on the edge 5 times in a row, but the guy who does hammer recovery, he gets a book written about him. Down sig from Rygunduz, and it looks like the blue team is going to get on the board.
Yep, Rygunduz doing down signatures. He's the best player in the world.
Follow up.
Oh, okay. That was
Okay.
never mind. That was a little bit questionable.
Best player in the world, you say?
That was a little bit of a questionable move, but Ket was able to take that one in the end. 611 damage, fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing the orb damage that he did. A lot of it was on Cheeseface, man. He really did a great job soloing Cheeseface on the right side.
Yeah, Cheeseface got shot out of this one. 261 damage put out from Cheeseface. A little bit of a wonky follow-up there from Rygunduz, but you know what? They had 3 stocks to the red stock of Shadoww, so you know what? You can throw out some goof. There you're seeing those damage numbers. 438 on the orb.
See if anything changes this game. Man, Cheeseface was kind of not a big activity man in that game. I don't even know what to call him. He didn't do very much whatsoever. Only did 261 damage. Straight up got soloed by Ket.
Yeah, Ket, honestly, okay, so it's really hard to describe in the moment, but Ket did that so well, right? They had the sandwich on Shadoww, but rather than hard focus on that, you had Rygunduz up in Shadow's face, and Ket was just boxing out Cheeseface, would turn around, hit Shadoww, but his primary goal was just box out Cheeseface, keep Cheeseface out of the fight, and they played that so perfectly.
Really thinking hard on this stage banning going on.
Tough.
Crystal Temple, Shipwreck Falls, and Miami Dome left on the board. And you can see why they chose to ban out Mammoth Fortress and force a soft platform map. Rygunduz and Ket then had the choice on this one, and we'll see where we're going.
Going to be Miami Dome for game number 4. Again, Shadoww and Cheeseface still on their point, right? They could win this set if they can get through this. All they need to do is win one more game, but again, Rygunduz, you're seeing he's going to play the first 20 seconds of this match without picking up a weapon. All right, he gets a hammer.
Red team's sort of holding the middle ground, keeping the blue team a little bit split from one another, one on the left, one on the right. Now they're sort of regrouped, but they're having a little bit of a hard time staying together. No real momentum whatsoever for the blue team so far. The same cannot be said about the red team. A lot of damage has been done to Ket this game.
Unfortunate weapon toss there. Ket was trying to position for the follow-up, and a nice end-sig. Red team with a big lead as the blue team just taking so much damage in.
Rygunduz might be taken out shortly. Shadow's hunting for it. See if he can get the edge guard here to take out Shadoww. Oh, that actually got Rygunduz.
Yeah, just the backswing actually taking out Rygunduz. Red team both with their first stocks. The Nair's not going to do it. Miami Dome, very high ceiling map. You saw Ket try to follow up off that downlight. Side air. Okay, they'll get one. Nice interrupt from Rygunduz. Great positioning. You saw Shadoww was kind of hard focused on Ket.
You saw those hits coming out and all of the noises that were coming from it. I was a little bit worried that he was going to continue that lance pressure up, but Ket was still able to find the option there.
But man, Rygunduz is bleeding out here. Got to be careful. Trying to play this edge guard a little bit. Ket in the 1v2. Rygunduz gets back up, but a side air, a recovery, and now Rygunduz is on final stock here in game number 4.
Cheeseface helping out the juggle. Oh, the backside. The little ghost man got it. He rarely finds KOs.
Dude, second guy can be so tricky because you're always expecting the first shot. Maybe not the second. Nice follow-up from Rygunduz. Recovery. Blue team's still alive.
Yo, they're going to turn this one around? Are we going to get a game 5 situation? That would be insane.
They need to turn it around here, but all eyes on Rygunduz. Target on his back as he is the most damaged person on the screen.
Shadoww didn't have a weapon for a little while after he spawned in. They weren't able to find too much damage, but Ket is actually finding a little bit of damage on a Rygunduz, which is basically the worst thing that could kind of happen right now, as he's the most damaged. Oh no, might be taken out shortly. Oh, he's got to be so careful doing that.
He just spot dodged in the middle of a hurricane, but he's still alive for now. Side air connects. chasing down Cheeseface. He's playing hyper aggressive for it, but Cheeseface gets the turnaround. It's all on Ket. Can he keep his team alive?
Trying to play in between both members of the red team. They have 2 axes on the board. This is going to be tough. The juggle game coming up. Finds 1 hit, finds 2 hits. It's going to split up the team a little bit. That's going to put him in a nice space, but having to use 2 hits for that means Cheeseface finds the easy nair for the punishment. Hammer coming out. If he gets a nice juicy side air onto Shadoww, he's doing a great job splitting them up. Is he going to hit this 1v2?
He's so close to doing it, but he puts it all on the side sig. He's going to get one. Cheeseface versus Ket in the 1v1, and he gets it!
Oh my gosh! He just did that. Putting the team on his back to secure that one, giving us a Game 5 situation.
Says Ket's the move in his clan tag, and Ket's was moving as he got the 1v2 to take it to Game 5. And man, I thought he was done for when he missed that side sig. I thought he had just thrown it.
Ket might be the move, but more importantly right now, Ket is certainly the groove. And he has found his groove. Good work from Ket to really secure that one. Kind of being the only player here that we're not necessarily super familiar with. We're a little bit more familiar with Rygunduz, though we do know him from Inimitech back in the day. Look at some of those damage numbers coming up. Man, before that went away, Shadoww and Cheeseface did 209 team damage to one another.
I mean, Miami Dome can feel very compressed. That's like the exact opposite of what happened in the last one, where they were kind of stacking up a lot and putting that damage onto each other. But at the end of the day, I don't think that was the big defining thing. I just think Ket really played that 2v1 well, because all things considered, Shadoww and Cheeseface, they had the damage, they had the health, and Ket was getting those swings and not getting punished. And I love that he showed he can do the orb play right in the last game, and this game 324 damage put out with the hammer. So he's clearly not just a weapon one trick the way that, like, no offense to Cheeseface, he's putting out great damage with the axe, but it's definitely a very big axe game coming up.
And it seems like they need a little bit of a moment of pause before we actually get into the next one. We are going into our Game 5 situation, and looking at that, man, look at that damage. Even though they did more damage, it didn't matter. Look at that. Look at the difference in team damage. I do think that's huge. 209 compared to 44. Think about how much damage 209 really is. That's more than a stock on either person. That's huge. I think that might have set them up for Ket to play that final situation really well because of all the extra damage that he didn't have to do.
Yeah, that's definitely rough, especially because, like, on one person, that's a stock. On 2 people, you average it out to about 104.5, right, to each person. And that's still somebody getting close to KO percent. That's orange bare minimum.
That's 2 players in orange,
so, like,
which if you're going into the 1v2 with 2 players in orange, look, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, it's definitely a doable situation. And got to give credit to Ket for playing that really well, but we'll see how well it works out as we get into game number 5. Which team is going to be the one to go into the losers final and podium here at the World Championship for Australia?
Going back over here to the dome, Rygunduz able to grab a weapon again early this game. He's swinging out big, putting out some damage on the Shadoww.
Nice pickup from Ket, but then he immediately puts out some damage onto Rygunduz. And we've seen how bad oh my god, the down sig, the ground pound. Rygunduz is going to live, and it's going to be Cheeseface who takes out the teammate with the weapon toss, the opposite of what happened in game 1.
Rygunduz and Ket setting them up to push past even more than what they've already pushed past their previous placements. Previous tournament 5th place, now they find themselves in 4th, could easily be finding themselves in 3rd, but Shadoww and Cheeseface are not going to let them get there without a fight. It's now dead even though Shadoww went down super early. He's taking some damage here, getting juggled by the blue team, especially that hammer from Rygunduz.
Ooh, gravity cancel downlight does connect from Rygunduz, but unfortunately hit Shadoww a little awkward, couldn't get the follow-up side air. Cheeseface gonna take down Ket. Lots of people getting damaged, but you gotta give credit to Cheeseface being the only one still on the first stock. Shadow's on his last, though.
You got 2 hammers that you're staring at if you're Cheeseface right now. He tried to perk a pivot that down air, didn't quite find it. His Cheeseface was just a little bit too low. Okay. He's sort of hovering around that left side. Maybe Shadoww moving in for a little bit of a focus onto Ket. He takes about 3 hits, but he's still in a pretty good spot on the second stock. Man, Cheeseface, if he's not able to really get in this game, you see him over on the left wall, it's like he's focusing on his survivability, but that's taking him out of a lot of these fights, and he's not doing very much.
Yeah, he's definitely like, he recognizes the situation. Shadow's on his final stock, and Cheeseface has to start preparing for maybe a 1v2 or a late 1v1, but at the same time, he's not present while he's still on this first stock. He's just sitting there, breathing, hoping that he can at least get some damage here and there. Shadoww taking a lot, though. D-Light down there. Shadow's getting close to that KO %.
There you go. You see Cheeseface move in. Ket puts out a lot of damage on him. Then he moves out a little bit, moves back in, takes 2 bits of damage from both members of the blue team. A nice follow-up from them. Shadoww getting into the red, very close. Might be taking out here another hammer side air. The weapon toss goes a little bit wide. Cheeseface doing what he can to zone away both members of the blue team. Shadoww trying to hold on while Cheeseface is on his second stock, hoping they can take one of the blue team members out or at least get them really deep into that KO damage. So Cheeseface can fight the 1v2, pick up 1 stock, and then he's in the 1v1.
Yeah, Shadow's playing like a trapdoor spider right now. He's sitting in his little hole, waiting for his opportunities to come out, grab something, but Rygunduz goes in, gets the recovery. Shadoww can get back up. Cheeseface going to help him out, but Shadoww on last legs here. Deep red, a sidelight side air could be the finisher. Still alive for now.
Seems like Rygunduz and Ket are having trouble closing this one out. Doesn't even attempt the 3rd hit off of that. No side air, no down air, nothing.
Cross-wired here. A lot of people could fall soon. Rygunduz getting into the red. Shadoww still living on this final stock here. Who's the first one to go down on it?
Someone has to KO Shadoww. Finally the side air, but Cheeseface is not in a bad spot. He goes for the neutral sig instead of the down signature. Oh no, Rygunduz. That's going to give Cheeseface a little bit more breathing room. Both members of the blue team a little bit scared on how to play this one. Cheeseface does have the bow in hand. Oh, he goes for the D-Light side air. The recovery would put him into a lot of frames.
Yeah, he went for the thing that was the shortest. Running out of hope here. Everybody in the red. 1 side air could be the thing to change the situation, and Ket and Rygunduz close it out in game number 5. The comeback from Ket and Rygunduz.
It was looking a little bit scary for all the Ket and Rygunduz fans out there. It was seeming like they weren't going to be able to close this one out. All of the 2v2 experience that Cheeseface and Shadoww have deeper in the bracket over a team like Ket and Rygunduz, it was looking like they were crumbling, but they were still able to bring it back just at the last second. So much damage was added up to basically everybody in the game on their final stocks.
And you're seeing like Shadoww and Cheeseface did less team damage in this one, but you gotta rewind to that first stock where the weapon toss from Cheeseface unfortunately bonked Shadoww, exhausted the options, and Shadoww